So I got this Tesla Model 3. I'm going to show you guys how to save the most money driving this thing and make it worth your while. Yes, that's not a Tesla. It's a fun game called Mario Kart. So why am I showing you Mario Kart? Bear with me here. So in the Mario Kart games, there is a one-player mode called Time Trials. In earlier games such as Mario Kart 64, if a player can get a fast enough time, you could actually unlock a ghost made by one of the developers who made the game. Now, a ghost is a replay of a previous time trial. So in other words, this developer, in this case, a staff ghost, would have a crazy fast time, and they are nearly impossible to beat. You have to know exactly when to use your turbo mushrooms, power slide on every corner, and not go off the road at all. If you have ever played these games, you know how difficult it can be to beat the staff ghost time. Now think about the estimated range on your Tesla. How difficult is it for you to beat that range? I would say it's more difficult to beat the range than to beat a staff ghost in Mario Kart. So there's quite a few factors that go into your estimated range and how you can save on that range. There's your climate control on the interior of your Tesla, using or not using your cruise control, what speed you're going, using the brake regen or just braking manually, whether you're going uphill or downhill, and then the outside weather. So this video, I'm going to show you some of the things I did to get better mileage and range, and then I'm going to show you also some things that didn't help at all. So hopefully this video helps. So what happens with these vehicles is if you go right here, you're going to go to your consumption. You can see what you're spending all of your energy on. So right now I've used 3.9%. 1.3% of that 3.9% is driving. 0.7 is climate control, 1.4% is battery conditioning, 0 elevation, and 0.5% is everything else. So this screen right here, if you really want to know what you're wasting your energy on, go to this screen. Again, it's this little green icon down there. This will help you a ton to find out what you are wasting your energy on and how to fix it. So one thing that I look at all the time when I'm driving is this little bar. Right now it's green and it's going black right now, back to green, back to black. When it's black, it means that you are using energy. When it's green, it means you're charging. So you're adding energy to the battery. So you are at a net positive. When it's black, you're at a net negative. So right here, if you go press this, your estimate is that you have 213 miles left. It's near impossible to get that estimate. Usually you're 5 to 10% less than that estimate if you're driving in a very ideal way for energy consumption. If you're just driving like you would any regular day, you're probably gonna be like 15 to 20% less than that. If you're accelerating really fast, if you're pressing the brake, all that stuff is gonna kill your energy consumption. So I have a few tips, and then I'll talk to you about them. A few tips to get the most out of your energy consumption when it comes to your Tesla. So the number one thing, never use cruise control. Cruise control, from my experience, eats into your consumption, eats into your energy. It's just not ideal. It's not efficient. It'll speed up super fast and consume a lot of energy, and then just slow down and not really get that much energy back. So number one, you're gonna get rid of cruise control. So do not use this. Your foot is gonna get tired if you're on a road trip. I just drove to California from Las Vegas and my foot is super tired, so I know how that goes. So the number two thing is do not use your climate control. So this we'll go back to percentage. The climate control used 1%. So I used 5.2% of the battery. Of that 5.2%, a little bit less than 20% was due to the climate control being on. So if you can not use the climate control, just turn that off. You're gonna save a good amount of mileage.
So the number 3 thing is elevation.
So here's my latest trip. It's actually plus 5.9, so I did a lot better. But look at this, plus 11.5 for driving, minus 12.6 for elevation. So I made it all up on elevation. So this isn't something that's gonna happen often. This was just because I was losing elevation pretty much the whole trip. So right here, it's 11.7% more consumed. So I think this really should be like 22 or 21.7% consumed. But look at this. Driving was plus 4.3, elevation plus 9. So I was driving this with cruise control on. You can see I put cruise control on right here. And from there, it just nosedived. You're not gonna get good consumption when you're going up hills, when you're dealing with elevation. I mean, even if you go up a hill and go back down, it's gonna be a net negative. So just remember that when you're driving, hills are gonna eat up your consumption pretty quickly.
Use brake regen as much as possible. So this is when you're coasting to a stop rather than pressing the brake. This regenerates the battery and will give you more battery life. Accelerate as slowly as possible. The faster you accelerate, the more battery you're going to be using. So try to drive like you're driving a Toyota Prius, or drive like your grandma drives, and just accelerate slowly. Yes, it takes the fun away from having a Tesla, but if you truly want to have better consumption, that's what you got to do. The climate control being on does use consumption, so if you want to tint your windows and put a sunshade on the roof, that'll keep your cabin area cooler, and that'll help in the summers. Tinting your car can cost anywhere from $200 to $500, and then a sunshade is like $30. I'll put a link in the description for one. So Sentry mode and using your Tesla app does take away consumption. So if that's something you can live without, that will help you. It won't be a ton, but it will help. Always do battery conditioning before you charge. This helps condition your battery so it's able to charge quicker, and you will save some consumption on that as well. In conclusion, if you really want to save battery, the best thing to do is just not use cruise control and don't accelerate super fast, and maybe turn the climate control down a bit. All this other stuff is just going to make you feel terrible when you're driving that long trip. You'll pretty much be hot and bothered, super sore, and you're driving like an old grandma. You bought the Tesla to drive fast, so take all of this with a grain of salt. When I was driving to California, I drove this way for about 30 minutes and decided that I was done with it, put the cruise control on, and relaxed. So this is just what you can do. I don't recommend it, but if you do want to do it, good luck.